I've talked about it on here previously that Jaron Williams had great turnover luck in the first 4 games. Even with, a 73% completion percentage and things like that, he had thrown interceptable balls that were not caught. He fumbled the ball 5 or 6 times and recovered all of them personally in the first 4 games. And that luck ran out in a big way. And yeah, I mean, you're throwing interceptions on the first 3 drives of the game. So Jaron actually completed every pass that he threw. He was 4 for 7 in the game with 3 picks. So he completed nearly as many to them as he did to us. But when he threw the ball did not hit the ground. But yeah, it was just, I talked about it from last year. If, a linebacker flashing underneath a slant route or something like that, and, he would continue to throw those kind of things, and that ended up biting him this week. And Bud Foster talked about it after the game, the legendary Virginia Tech defensive coordinator. He said, look, we question his arm strength. And that's something I've been saying. Jaron Williams has a strong enough arm if everything goes right. That means you get blocking, you hit your 3rd, 5th, 7th step, and that ball comes out on time. If everything goes as according to plan, the ball will get there. But he doesn't have the strongest arm. And I hope after you've seen this that you stop arguing with me about the fact that Nkosi Perry has a stronger arm than Jaron Williams. That should be immutable fact at this point. And when Bud Foster comes out and says we were questioning Jaron Williams' arm strength to the point where we're playing more man free and jumping everything. And if you look at all the interceptions, Virginia Tech defenders are not giving space. They're getting up the field. Every single time. The first one, which was behind Harley on an RPO slant, the defender was right there, gets tipped up, boom, interception. The next one, the seam or the fade to Brevin Jordan, woefully underthrown, and or it wasn't Brevin Jordan, it was D. Wiggins, excuse me. But that fade thrown to D. Wiggins, woefully underthrown. Defender runs the route better. Boom. He knew that, I need the inside position because the ball's not going to go over my head because Jaron doesn't have that kind of arm. Interception. The third one on the sideline, that's a long throw on an out route. And Jaron, again, you need everything to go right for that throw to be complete. And everything was not right. And, that ball gets picked off. It was just. And then, Nkosi comes in, the first play, he throws a little swing pass to Mike Harley, and then Harley fumbles it, getting tackled. Excuse me. And then Virginia Tech's up 28-0. It was bad. It was bad. The linebackers, Michael Pinckney ended up having 10 tackles on the day with a couple tackles for loss. But he and Shaq Quarterman were still out of place, out of position, trying to play hero ball. Which can work sometimes in basketball when you're in possession of the ball and just, that go to hell, look, ISO, whatever, I'm going to get the bucket, period, because I have the ball. But when you do that on football defense, you leave guys open. And you saw that repeatedly with the tight end throwbacks, tight end fullback, H-back, whatever you want to call it. A dude wearing number 29 had 3 receiving touchdowns, playing from the edge of the formation, whether that's fullback, H-back, wing, whatever you want to call it. And a lot of those times you saw 55 and 56 on Miami's defense, guys who have been all conference level players are trying to do somebody else's job or they're eschewing their responsibility, which ends up being the guy who catches the touchdown. It was a horror show in the first half. It was a comedy of errors. The offensive line was getting beat repeatedly. Run game had nothing to do and nowhere to go. Bud Foster talked about that too. He said, hey, we ignored 15 Jaron Williams in the RPO system that they're running because he's never going to keep the ball. So we're going to ignore him as a running option because he won't run. Boom. And yeah, it was all of that. And it was just terrible. So bad. Again, we talked about coming out early, starting fast. Didn't do that, obviously. And, I made the analogy on here last week that Virginia Tech was that endangered animal in a dangerous situation looking to strike out. I said that, they were the raccoon on the deck in the turned over garbage can. I talking about that video that everybody's seen. And they're going to come in. And again, I said it. Go back and watch the video. I said that they're in a dangerous position. Their back is against the wall. And they're going to come out and they're going to fight. And they're going to try to save their season. And for at least a week, they did. And there's even more that was bad that went on. Penalties were still terrible and atrocious. How, as Mike Harley, after the game-tying touchdown, you get a celebration unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, which then backs up the ensuing kickoff to the 20, which gives them a short field to come down and score the eventual winning score. How you lose your head in that moment as a junior on this team is unacceptable. It's unexplainable, unacceptable. Scott Patchen had, not in this game, but previously, he had a penalty late in the game. I forget which one. I think it was the North Carolina game that we lost. He's a fifth-year senior. What are these guys doing? What are you doing? All this is unacceptable. So much is unacceptable. Nkosi Perry came in, played really well. He had 422, 4 scores and a pick. I questioned the decision to throw from 4 times in a row from the 4-yard line on one drive. I thought that was pretty bad. I think that you need to cowboy up and run the ball. And even if you call a pass play and Nkosi runs, 2nd and 3rd down, it was wide open for him to run, and he didn't. And again, I think that's been coached out of him because that's something that we saw on film in high school. And if you look at the record books and you look at the touchdowns and the rushing yards that he had in high school, that's something that in high school, if it broke down, he look, man, I'm going to go because there was space, but we didn't do that. I'm not saying it was perfect for Nkosi. It wasn't. I'm not going to lie. But we saw things from Nkosi in terms of arm strength and passing ability, like down the field, vertical passing ability that no one else on this roster can approximate. That throw on the little out and up to Brevin up the sideline on 3rd and 10 was such a dime. Oh, my goodness. That's an NFL throw of NFL throws. Nkosi could spin that ball, man. Even there's the incompletion. Virginia Tech brought 6 against our 5, so you get a free rusher. He spins out, and then going to his left, stops, flips his hips, and flings it up the sideline to KJ Osborne, hits him in between the hands, and he drops it in the catch mechanic. Yo, what? Nobody else on the roster makes that even comes close, and that ball was on the money. Perfect 40-yard dime under pressure. That throw to Jeff Thomas on the drive with the Hail Mary. But before that, again, stepping out, extending that play to the right, a 45-yard dime, and he got blasted on that play because there's a guy coming from behind him, and then the linebacker or D-end who was there said, yo, sandwich time. And Nkosi knew he was going to take it in the chin.
I thought that was the best throw of the game.
It was such an amazing throw.
Yeah.
It really was. You got to go back and watch that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I forget the tag of the time, but it was in the last drive there. It was the best. Between that and the Jordan throw up the sideline, those were the 2 best throws. Oh, and the KJ Osborne, which you're not even going to give him credit for because that's an incompletion. So if you're looking back, what the big plays, that throw to KJ Osborne is an incompletion. That's as good a throw as those other 2. You're talking elite level throws. Now, he did make some bad throws. He did have that interception, which, after the fact, you look at the film, you could potentially call defensive pass interference on the defensive back on that. I'm not even going to say that. You should have, but that could have been a conversation. He also threw a couple Adam balls that were
2 interceptions.
Well, no, he threw 1.
He could have thrown 2.
No, he could have thrown like 4.
Well, there was one on the sideline that he threw. He was under duress, and he's just trying to get. I didn't know if he was trying to get rid of the ball to the right or he tried to chuck it to somebody on the sideline, and that was the one that was picked off. But there was a penalty.
Right,
it got brought back.
Right, exactly. So I was going to mention that one. Yeah, that was a bad play. And like the floor can be low, but the ceiling is stratospheric with Nkosi. The variance is the thing. So if you're looking for consistency. Hopefully we get consistency and explosion, but it could be really good or really bad. And that throw was really bad. I think he was trying to throw it away, but you got to throw that into the 10th row. You got to not try to get it right on the sideline there. So that was one that was intercepted, but you get a roughing the passer to save you on that one. The last 2 plays of the game, well, not the next to last play, but the last play, you zero in on Jeff Thomas. Don't see the safety underneath there at the goal line who could have picked it off, but he's just like, you know what? Boop, bat it down, ball game's over. So that's another one. And there was other one in the game also. So I'm not saying that it's perfect, but when you spread the field and you let Nkosi go vertically, and the offense looks so different because Jaron does not have that kind of arm strength. Jaron has great arm talent in terms of intermediate and short accuracy. He's very talented at that, obviously, but his arm is average strength at best. So if the offense is going way more horizontal, so you're looking at 15 yards and in for pretty much the entire offense, that's not good enough. So, and when you're talking about every single team is talking about, cool, we're going to walk everything down. We're going to play press man free. We're going to do all these kind of things because we know you're not going to go by us when you got Mark Pope and Jeff Thomas on the roster. P.S. by the way, those two have not played a single offensive snap together yet this year. Why? Seriously, bro. Those are two of the fastest guys that you got on the roster. Why are you not putting them on the field together? Why are you not lining them up next to each other? Good luck. You know what kind of route combinations you could run? If you ran a dagger concept with them, if you ran a switch concept, even if you ran a post corner, or what could you do? Even if you ran a go and a drag with those two, you know what kind of speed you're talking about. And that should be the foundation of what Miami's doing. So, there were things to like about Nkosi. The offensive line was still intermittent at best. There were a couple times that they did give him time. On that throw to Brevin Jordan up the sideline, they gave him a lot of time to make that throw. So, there's a lot going on. But overall, yeah, you turn the ball over 5 times. You're not able to run the ball. And the defense is just still not playing up to the standard that Miami's had. And I know that I've been going on a little diatribe here, so I'm going to get off of my soapbox. But the last thing I will say, when Miami hired Manny Diaz, whether you liked it or not, the paradigm was continuing the level of excellence we've seen on defense and upgrading the offense. That was the game plan, overtly stated. We're going to continue to do what we've done since I've been here for 3 years as defensive coordinator, is now head coach. We're going to continue to do what we've done on that side of the ball and upgrade this other side of the ball. The defense has gotten so much worse because guys are going outside of their responsibilities and hurting the integrity of the structure of the defense. And it's not good enough. And I think that we saw that on Saturday.
To me, the highlight of the first half was, and since we were analyzing, or you were mostly analyzing Nkosi Perry's great throws and mistakes, was that, and this seems like it's simple to do, but he threw a perfect Hail Mary pass. And actually, the play was executed perfectly. There always has to be some luck involved. Yep. But I watched that a couple of different times, slow-mo, the whole deal. So I watched the condensed game, and I actually cut a video where I analyzed the first half and the second half. So I was just really trying to zero in on various facets of Miami's performance. But they had the bunch of receivers together in the end zone. He threw it perfectly in regards to depth in the end zone. He didn't throw it too short. He didn't throw it out. You see quarterbacks throw it out of the back of the end zone or it's on the back line and they're trying to keep it in. He threw it perfectly. Mallory executed perfectly. And then, of course, it was caught by Mark Pope.
The last thing, or the only thing I'll say about that, is it was a very well thrown ball, and obviously you get the luck. You practice that, but it comes together perfectly. If Jaron Williams is in the game, the ball doesn't get there, and whether that's because of his native arm strength, he's dealing with a shoulder injury now. So Jaron Williams is not going to probably play on Friday. Nkosi Perry has been announced as a starting quarterback. And yeah, I think that he's had that injury for a while. I think that was. In the Central Michigan game, I know for sure he got sacked and fell on that shoulder, and he came to the sideline with his arm just hanging. So, maybe that affected the level of arm strength that he already had, which is average to being less than that for a couple of those throws that were intercepted. Some people are talking about the fact that he, got injured in the Florida game, and that's been propagated over the course of time. Yeah. We'll see, but, is going to be Nkosi Perry. And, obviously he flashed some things. And, Nkosi being out there, it changed the space out there. And, welcome back to the show, Jeff Thomas, because he finally, reemerged on the scene.